right, let's begin. It's a pretty small group, so if you want to stay unmiked, you can. If you want to be unmuted, you can. This afternoon, Steve and I are going to participate in a dialogue about taxpayer Tom Andrews. Steve is going to pretend to be Tom. Is that right, Steve?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, and I am going to be the volunteer that is interviewing him. So I'm going to be starting from workbook page 4, and I would encourage each one of you to have your workbook page 4 open, available, and if you have it in hand, please write on it whatever Steve and I are talking about. And so that when we are done with this interview, you will have all the needed information necessary for completing this scenario in the practice lab. Then once we complete the interview, we'll talk about it a little bit, and then we will also go to the practice lab and begin inputting the data for Tom Andrews. Any questions so far? Okay, so I'm on page 4 of my workbook then. And Tom has just handed me everything that he brought with him, the intake sheet that he's completed, and all of his tax documents. And I'm sorting them, getting them in order. We usually order them in the same order as the numbered items on the Form 1040. I often like to have the Social Security paper right on top, though, because it always has the Social Security number right on it. But whatever you're most comfortable with. So, hi Tom, my name's Pat, and I'm going to help you today with your
Hi, Pat.
with your
How are
tax
you doing this
return.
lovely day?
Can I see your paperwork? And he hands it to
Sure.
me. And I'm just going to
Here,
look
here are
it
my
over.
envelopes.
I'm just going to look it over and then ask you some questions if I have any. Is it okay if I ask you some questions?
Please.
Okay. I'm just looking over the first page of the intake form now. Has anything changed with your name, your address? Obviously, your birth date hasn't changed. Has anything changed since last year on that?
I'd love to say that my birth date has changed and I'm 10 years younger than I am right now, but no.
Don't we all wish? Okay, I see you've never been married, and it looks like maybe you're going to be filing single. Scott Andrews is your brother. I'm down toward the bottom of this sheet now if you're still following me. Scott Andrews is your brother, and tell me about that living situation you have with him.
Well, we share a house together, and he and I have our parents lived in the house. They both passed. We inherited the house together, and he has his part of the house. I have mine, and we get along famously.
Okay, so does he have his own income, or is he your dependent?
No, he works.
Okay, so he has all of his own income, files his own tax forms.
Well, actually, he makes more money than I do.
Oh, okay. So all right, so I don't absolutely need to ask Tom about the questions that are in the gray area, because it appears to me as though he's not ever going to be, not anytime soon anyway, going to be Tom Andrews' dependent. It's just a common living situation that they have. So I'm just going to pretty much ignore everything else that's there. I might put yet Y's and N's in those boxes to just indicate that I did ask those questions. Now, why would I want to indicate that? Because the quality reviewer will come along and see the information that I have already documented, and they may revisit it with the taxpayer, or they may not. They may just say, oh, I see your brother is living in your home with you, but he just has all of his own income. So the more documentation I do, the easier the job is for the quality reviewer in a lot of ways. Okay, so now I'm on page 5 in the workbook, and this is page 2 of the intake form. So Tom, I see that you had a job last year and you have some earned income.
Yes.
So with just one employer?
I have been very blessed. Just one job.
Nice.
And
Okay.
I was able to keep it throughout COVID.
Okay. And I see that he did made a deduction for your health insurance on there.
Yes.
And you had some state wages, state income tax, and 100% of the time we're going to see the local income tax information on there too, but not in the workbook.
Well, my employer works out of town, is based out of town, and I have been trying for years to get them to take out local taxes, and every year they refuse to do it, and so every year I have to write a check. It's very annoying, and I really wish my employer would get better.
Right, and I'm sorry that there's nothing we can do to help with that. I'm very sorry.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm looking down over the rest of the information here. You have some interest and dividends as well, and I see you've presented an interest statement there. And you had a little early withdrawal penalty, $55. That's going to go against you, but it's really nothing major at all, so I wouldn't worry about it. And then you have some unemployment compensation as well.
Uh, Not in my book, I don't.
You know what? I'm not seeing that here either, but it definitely says yes. There's a 1099-G. So I'm just going to change it to no.
Well,
This is question 12 on the intake sheet.
okay. There are two ways I can answer this question.
Okay.
One is, oh, I forgot it. I left it at home. There was a damn envelope that was on the center of the table, and I meant to bring it with me. What do we do now?
Okay, so this is an interesting situation. It's like if you don't live very far away, you could actually just run home and get it, or we could complete the rest of the interview now, and then in the computer, I will just write a note so that when you come back, like next week, can you come back maybe around 2:30 in the afternoon?
I can be back in about no, I have to go to work this afternoon, so we'll have to schedule a new appointment.
Oh, okay, a whole complete new appointment.
Well, I'll have to cut today. I mean, today is what? Today, I don't even what day is today? Monday.
Today's Monday.
So I can come back on Wednesday. I see you have hours on Wednesday. Do you have some time available then?
Could you do it around 2:30 in the afternoon though? Because that's when we have most time available.
Done.
Okay, all right, so let's proceed now with as much as we can get done so that when you come in on Wednesday, you can just hand us that form, we'll get it in the computer and get you on your way.
I see a hand.
Yeah, okay,
Steve.
Go ahead, Steve.
It's me. It's just, I don't know if this will work, but it could work. That they could go home and take a picture of it with their phone, and then, although no, that won't work because they don't have your they can't have your phone number. So never mind.
No, no. You've raised a very interesting and very good implied question. No, we may not get documents on our phones.
Okay.
They have to bring the document to us because we don't keep anything. And if it's on our phone, we are in effect keeping it.
That's true. Yeah. So it's for a different reason, but yes. But I also heard we can't give our phone numbers out too. So
that's right.
That is also true. Well, you do it. I mean, that's your choice. You shouldn't, but many preparers do, simply because it's the information can be transmitted back and forth by phone. That's okay. It's just documents can't be.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Right. The exception on that is sometimes a taxpayer will bring us documents on their phone, and we gather the information by holding their phone in our hand and getting it in the computer that way. That's very rare, but I have seen it.
So I answered this was option one. Option two is, oh, did I check yes there? That's because my employer laid me off. What was it? Gee, I think I went back to work in December of 2020. So this is really for last year. It's really not for 2021. So I should have checked no. Is that right?
No, you checked yes.
No, so, I'm saying, I made a mistake. It was really unemployment compensation that I received in 2020.
Oh.
So should I change this to an answer to a no?
Yes, I'll change this answer to a no because it's not really compensation for the current tax year.
Thank you.
but maybe you need to look and make sure that in your 2020 taxes that you did claim this information then.
I guess.
Yeah,
We have to look at my return. I brought it with me if you'd like to see it.
right. And at this point, I would take a look at it to make sure that he did it correctly last year, because he presented me with a piece of knowledge now that I know should have been in last year's taxes. And since he has them, we'll just do it, because if I know it and I don't do anything about it, then I'm negligent. Okay, so you also checked boxed other income and wrote travel expenses. Tell me about that.
Well, as part of my job, I have to. I'm a traveling salesman in here in Allegheny County, and so I have a lot of even I'm a W-2 employee, but I have a lot of travel expenses that I pay out of my own pocket, and my employer gives me a check to compensate me for those expenses that I submit to them.
Okay, since your employer is already giving you the money to cover that, then we can't do anything with that on your tax forms. That would be a form of double dipping.
Oh, so it's not considered income?
No, because your employer reimbursed you.
Ah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. So I'm going to change that question answer to no.
Okay. And I wasn't sure about what is it, number 14? Well, you see, my brother pays me rent, but and I wasn't really sure if that I mean we live together and we have it's a common mortgage that we pay on the house, and he gives me a check every month, and then I write a check for the mortgage,
right,
based on those funds. So is that considered income?
No, not really. It's not really. It may seem like rent to you, but in the eyes of the IRS, that would not be considered rent. So therefore, it's not income for you, and that's a good thing for you. You two fellows are just living in the same house and sharing expenses, and of course, one of you then would have to be giving the other money to get the bills paid.
Yep.
Yeah.
2 kitchens, 2 everything.
Right. Okay. So I'm changing number 14 to no also. Right, now I'm going to go on to part 4, the expenses, and it says you checked yes for contributions to a retirement account, and I'm assuming that you have made or are going to make those on your own because your employer did not take any off on the W-2 form. Otherwise, there would have been in box 12 a letter D for that amount. So tell me about your contributions to the retirement account.
Well, I set up a Roth retirement account a couple of years ago, and I contribute. I think the max is $5,000. I don't recall, but I always do that right before April 15th. Is that something that needs to be reported? I mean, it's I'm using after-tax money.
I know, but we still need to report it. It may help you. I don't know. That's something that the software does behind the scenes, and I'm not always on top of that. But yeah, we still need.
I haven't made the contribution yet. Does that make a difference?
But you have up until April 15th or April 18th for this year to do that. So is that something you're going to do?
Oh, absolutely. I do it every year.
So what amount are you going to do?
I think. Can you double check for me? I don't remember, but I think the max is somewhere around $5,000. Is that right?
I'm sure it's at least 5, probably 6.
6. Well, whatever the max is, that's what I'm going to do.
Okay, so we'll need to look that up then. And so I'm making myself a note to go look that up because I don't personally know what that amount is, but I know where I can find it in the 4012. So at some point or other, whether it's right now during the interview or whether it's like later on after I feel like I have all the information, then I would definitely go to the 4012 and look up that amount and then later report that back to Tom of what that amount is so that he has a full understanding of what he needs to take care of before April 15th. Okay. Looks like you had some college or post-educational expenses.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
My brother is getting a dental degree part time. Does that make sense? Yeah, why
Yeah.
not? Okay, and I help him with his tuition.
Okay, so but that's not a taxable event for you, or even an expense for you, because you're
Really?
helping your brother, and so he's the one that can take advantage of that, not you.
Ah,
Sorry.
okay,
So I'm
okay,
changing that answer to no.
okay.
And then you also wrote that you had some charitable contributions. Can you tell me about how much that was?
Oh Lord. I don't have receipts or anything like that, but you know, I give a thousand, you know, at least $1,000 every year to Charity X, and are on Giving Tuesday. I always I give easily $500-600 to a variety of different charities. Do I need that paperwork?
No,
I don't
I
have any of
think
that.
your information is good enough for us. It doesn't seem like it's out of line with what would be considered normal. So I'm going to accept what you're telling me without seeing anything in writing. And then we all know that in the end, Tom Andrews, is only allowed to take $300 as a deduction unless we're doing itemized deductions, and I don't see anything at all that would qualify him for that. So
I,
on the
I
sheet,
also
I just wrote $1,000 on the sheet, even though he told me more because he's only allowed to take 300. Go ahead,
I,
Steve.
I forgot. I also, you know, I had some old clothing that belonged to my parents that I was cleaning out the house, and I gave all that to Goodwill, and it was and they gave me a receipt that was easily equal to $100.
Yeah, but
Uh,
I'm sorry to tell you that only cash contributions are going to be available for this particular deduction.
okay. Thank
Sorry.
you. Okay.
Okay. All right. And then you also checked yes for student loan interest, and I see you brought that form with you, 1099, 1098E, and that you said there's $550 on that. So that's good. That'll help you
Yep.
for your
Yep.
bottom line. All right. So I'm looking in the life events area now, still on page 2 of the interview sheet. And the very last one received an economic impact payment in 2021. We all said that this is the wrong form. It's a 2020, but did you receive an economic impact payment for 2021?
You know, when was that? I mean,
It was
it's so
about
long.
yeah,
When were those issued?
it was around May, but you know what? The IRS has sent everyone that received a payment a letter in January.
Is that what that envelope was?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Didn't
Yeah.
you hold on to it?
Okay. Do I need to, when I come back on Wednesday, do I need to bring that with me too?
Yeah, are you still coming back on Wednesday though? Because we agreed that you really didn't have the unemployment compensation and you don't need to bring that form.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So do I need to bring the letter for the $1,400
I
or
think
whatever money I got?
I think there might still be an online lookup tool, and so we could look that up together,
Okay.
even
Great.
now,
I don't want to come back.
and then decide whether you'll need to come back or not. Yeah. All right. Now I'm going to be looking on page. Oh, I think that was it. All right.
Page
Do you
3.
have any other income to tell me about? What other income do you have?
Nope. That's it.
All right, then I think maybe we have enough information. And did you
Well,
want to do direct deposit if you're going to be getting a refund?
no, I don't trust the government. When I get every time if I give them my bank account information, it's just going to get in the hands of some spammer, and they're going to try to take my money from me. So I really like a hard check.
Okay, I understand. All
Yeah.
right, so the only other
Can
thing that I would do in interview is to look through the booklet to see that he answered all those other optional type questions, and just very quickly go over the signature pages, the consents with him. Okay,
Okay.
Steve, well, how did
I
I
want
do? Did I get everything or did I miss some things? Help me.
No, you got everything. I would just make one last comment on the last point.
Mm-hmm.
I have found that there are many people who say what I just said. We never force a client to pick a direct deposit or
Mm-mm.
getting a paper check. It is 100% their choice. But you should point out to them that you will get your money in 10 days
Mm-hmm.
if you do direct deposit, and you will get it in 6 months if it's anything
Maybe.
like this year, maybe, if you do it with a check.
Yeah.
And I have found that 98% of the time that convinces people to do direct deposit.
Right. And the other thing we tell taxpayers at sites where I've worked is that it's really safer to do direct deposit because then the money goes right into your account. It doesn't have to go and sit in your mailbox until you get it, which could leave itself open to thievery.
Any questions for either of us?
I don't. This is Steve. But it's not a question, but it's just something that's probably going to come up. The IRS is kind of encouraging people to get an IRS online account where all those stimulus payments and the child tax credits and all that stuff. People don't remember that, and they also don't always bring that letter in that shows it. And last year they didn't even have the letters out very often in time, and so there is an online way to do it, but it takes a little while to set up. But it's useful because it tells you. I don't even remember myself how much stimulus I got last year, and so unless I get that letter, I won't know, and so it's useful. It might be useful to help them set up an IRS account. You know, they have a username, password, but it's going to be time consuming. But it's useful. So
we don't have the time to do that. It's an excellent suggestion,
Right.
and there is no reason why we can't say to the client, you should consider doing that. But I've set up an IRS account for myself. It sounds like you've done it for yourself. You're right. It is time consuming. It requires response emails and going back and forth and credit questions, none of which we ought to know anything about. You know, where did you live and where did you work? And I mean, all the credit questions they ask really are not our business. So we can encourage them, but we can't spend the time to do it.
Okay, all right.
I think the letters that they send out in January, I think they're going to be clearly marked that they're for taxes and that we will see a great number of taxpayers bringing them in this year. They're also sending out the letters for the child tax credit payments.
Hey, Pat,
Alan,
the stimulus, I didn't think there was any stimulus payments for 2021. I thought they all related to 2020.
no, there was one in 2020 and one in early 2021, and then there was one like in May of 2021, and that's the one we're working on now. Everybody got $1,400. Adults, kids, everybody.
I'm laughing because what you just said is what 50% of the people who come to us are going to say.
You're right, yeah.
What? I don't remember getting $1,400 in the mail. Oh, maybe I don't know. People are not going to remember it absolutely. And I think the issue is you should assume that they got it unless they are absolutely adamant that they didn't, because the return will bounce when it's filed.
That's right.
I think that's what we did for the 2020s when we did their taxes early this year for the one that was in January.
Yep.
I just didn't remember there was one in May because I take care of my sister's finances, and I don't remember her getting a payment in May, so I'm going to have to check that on my own.
Yeah, go check.
Because then she would. So we'll still be able to recover those stimulus payments for 2021?
Right.
Hopefully.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, watch and see if she gets a letter in January.
Will do. Yeah, I get all her mail, so I'll take care of that.
Okay, sounds good. There was something else I was going to say on that. This is going to come up again and again, like in our training on Wednesday or Thursday, I'm sure. And I actually received another presentation partly on this same topic just the other day. They're not supposed to have the presentation available until tomorrow afternoon, but, you know, like, as soon as I get a hold of it, figure out where it is, I will send it to you, Steve, to see if you want to use it or not, or just what we want to do with it. It's a recording, so it'll have all the, you know, like, it just have to play it, that's all. But it's probably about an hour long. This might just be something that we send out to people and let them look out on their own. I don't know.
Let me take a look at it. It's I don't want to go off topic.
Right.
So
Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. All right. It's 1:30, and the rest of our time this afternoon is going to be spent inputting the data for Tom Andrews into the practice lab. So the next thing you want to do is go figure out where the practice lab is. So I have a link for that for you right here. It's in the chat bar now. And if you click on the link, it'll take you to a home page. So go ahead and click on the link. You're going to get there before me.
Lost the link.
How'd you lose the link?
I don't know. I saw it and I moved my mouse and then it was gone.
It's very simple. It's Vita, VITA, .taxslayerpro.com.
Okay, I got it on last year's paperwork. So
That's right.
I'm not sure how to get to the chat room.
Okay, sorry. The chat. You can get to the chat bar by going to the lower right-hand corner of your of the room page, and there's a little bubble there that looks like a cartoon bubble that where somebody's going to talk.
Oh, okay.
You just click on it and open it. Then you should be able to see what's been going on in the message.
Okay.
And they scroll up from the bottom, so the most recent link is right there at the bottom.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
So I maybe everybody, but I got to that place, I think, that says access link and learn taxes, and it says enter a password.
You went to vita.taxslayerpro.com?
Well, I
doubt
went to that same thing /IRS training.
No.
Here's where you should be. Can you see it? I'm sharing my page. Can you see it?
Yes, I'm there now. Yes, thank you. Sorry.
Okay. Anyone else not able to get to this page?
I'm actually having trouble signing into the Chromebook.
Oh, you have a different computer you can use?
No, I just have my phone and an iPad. I just don't.
Yesterday, didn't
Steven, if you can privately send me the email that you used to sign into the Chromebook.
I gave it to you on that piece of paper. Don't you still have that?
It just has the password, the website, and a number. Is it the number?
That's the number.
Okay.
The email address is a number for everyone. For signing into a Chromebook, some of you have them, many of you don't yet. Your email address is your AARP number, and that's all you have to put in.
All right, perfect. I got it.
And then after you log in, just click all through the rest of the screens. Don't change any boxes along the way. Just click through all the screens. And after you have logged in, you should be able to see the same page where I am right now.
Kylie, if you remember, you will not. You have to open up a tab and type in vita.taxslayerpro.com.
Okay. Yes.
What number did you say we were entering?
We haven't entered it. No, only this was only for Kylie. I'm sorry because she has a Chromebook. Everybody else is doing it on their own thing. So you don't need to worry about it.
And
Okay.
when you get to this particular page, if you want to, you can bookmark it so that it's easier to come back to again.
Because I have this piece of paper that has all these important locations, and the first one was take test and learn, which you told us about, at www.linklearncertification.com. The second one on this piece of paper is vita.taxslayerpro.com.
Yep.
I just put in here /IRS training. So what's the difference between Well, just the one without the slash and the one with the slash text.
The one,
IR
yeah.
training.
The one that's on the sheet will be on the next page after I click here.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just like skipped this step.
Sorry. So it's asking me for a password to get into the practice lab.
It's on the piece of paper I gave. Oh, okay. So, okay, go, Pat. We're just stay on this page for a second.
Okay.
Pat,
Yeah.
back to you.
What?
You can move forward.
I can go forward?
Yep.
Okay, so now we're going to click on Practice Lab. And now this is the page that has the same address on it that I had on the tracking sheet that I sent to you. I call this a splash screen. Everybody enters through the Practice Lab through this way. The password here is on the tracking sheet that I gave you. It is in all capital letters, Train Pro Web. Train, T-R-A-I-N, P-R-O-W-E-B, Train Pro Web. And then click Login. And now you are at a sign-in place, but you probably don't have an account. If you do have an account, go ahead and sign in. If you don't have an account, click on Create Account. And the first thing you need to do is to enter your email address twice.
Is it that numerical email address that we have from?
No, put in whatever email address you use
Okay,
for like password recovery. I don't want you to have to use that number, the number one, aarpfoundation.org.
Pat, I'm sorry, you said Train Pro Lab and it's all caps?
No, Train Pro Web, W-E-B. Train Pro Web. It's all
Pat,
one word.
Can I use my username and password from last year?
Probably.
If you had an account in here previously, it should still be there.
Okay, I must be messing up the password that we used then.
So you could say you forgot your password, and maybe they'll send you a way to recover it in an email.
I'm going to do that now.
Yeah.
So if we do it right, are we on a page that says Practice Lab -home? Is that right? That's what mine came up as.
Yes.
Okay.
So are you already in?
Yeah.
Oh, good for you. Okay. Is anybody stuck in creating an account? And I'll give you some hints on what to choose for like program type, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I was wondering about program type.
Program type is AARP Tax Aid. It's in the middle.
And site ID number?
No, we don't need that.
Okay.
Can I use the same username that I created earlier and just a different password?
You mean like the same ones that we had for Link and Learn, where we did the test
Yes.
this morning? Yeah, I don't
Yes.
see why not.
Okay.
Well, that's what I was trying to do, and it says my email already exists, the username already exists. So
that means you have an account somewhere.
okay, I'll back up and
Okay, the passwords for this are a little bit more challenging. You have to have a minimum of 10, and I believe it requires a number, an uppercase, and a special character.
Oh, wow.
Actually, it said password must be at least 15 and no more than 25.
Well, I guess I'm grandfathered in because I know mine's not 15.
Yeah, my password, I'm happy to share with everyone. I hate TaxSlayer. And then I put a number and a character afterwards, and I make the I a capital. Why do I do that? It's really easy to remember, and for years I really did hate TaxSlayer.
And my password, which I really like and we've shared around, a lot of us use it out in Butler County, is volunteers are great with an exclamation point at the end, and the number 8 is in there and great. And there's a couple capital letters along the way. Volunteers are great.
Just proves you're a positive person, not a negative one.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay.
And it looks like you need a security question for password recovery here. It may or may not be required. When you're ready, click on create account and then let me know if you're all the way in or not.
I'm in.
At one point, the SID, the site identification number was required. Pat indicates that that's been changed, it's no longer required. But if it is required, if for some odd reason it is, you can basically use any number, any 8-digit set of numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, when I was in there, it said required for email addresses and required for one of the other things, but there was no requirement for that number, so I just
Okay,
skip it.
they may have changed it. I know it
Yeah.
used to be required.
Hey, Steve,
Yes.
I have something, I haven't tried this one yet. Steph Train?
Oh, I have no idea what your passwords are. I'm sorry.
Oh, you didn't have us use Train. Okay,
Yeah, I had recommended that everybody's
that's right, you did.
had the word train in it in order to be.
Okay,
But again, old rules not necessary anymore.
okay.
Right. Yeah, mine has PL in it for practice lab.
Password.
If you're all the way in, you should see practice lab home, like is on the room screen right now.
Oh, and
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
I'm not. Nothing like my passwords that I'm having to change.
And hopefully you wrote down somewhere what your login values are.
Yes. A rule of thumb, you are not permitted during the tax season to write your username and password on a sticky and leave it on your laptop. We all do it, but you should not.
Steve,
Yes.
while we're talking about passwords, when you gave me this Chromebook, there's a little password here, begins with a T and ends with an exclamation point,
Yes.
has a year in it. I can't figure out what that one, what we use that one for.
Well, the initial password for logging onto a Chromebook is tax A 2021 exclamation point, but after that, it will then take you to another screen where you set your own password.
Oh, okay.
So
You know
it's
what,
one-time use.
Somehow I do get into Chromebooks, but that one didn't work. But somehow I got into it backwards, I guess. I went to this little Chrome icon at the very bottom of the page.
Okay.
Got in, so I'm okay. So I guess I don't need that one.
Nope.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so just get rid of it because it'll be useless at any point in the future.
Okay.
Steve, have you made it in?
I'm trying. Yes, I did finally.
Yay.
Okay.
So is everybody in?
So this, so we have to use a 25-digit password?
No,
15.
no.
Well,
Some phrase that will be easy to remember.
okay, well, I did the best I can, hopefully.
15.
We all
15. You
remember.
can use
I wrote-
15.
It is 15.
Oh, I wrote it down anyway, so.
If you have a pet, you can use the pet's name with a couple of numbers behind it.
Well, I have one temporarily, I might change it, so. But I'm in.
Okay, everybody's in?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so right now you should be on the Practice Lab homepage. And I'd say 95% of the time that I come in here, I just click right through this page, but I'm gonna give you a little tour of what's on this page before we do that. So if you scroll down, you should be able to see user guides, things like that in section 1, getting started with Pro Online. And we don't need to do anything in 2 or in 3 because you're not installing it, you're not configuring it. But when you go on down in section 4, there are some really nice user guides for preparing a return.
Move your screen down a little bit.
How much further?
It's fine.
Okay. And then in section 6, I like section 6 to do the practice returns here because they're extremely straightforward. You do not need to worry about the interviewing piece. Whereas that's an extremely important piece when we're in production and we need to get it learned. If you just want to do straight practice, come in here and do some of the practice returns. Easiest to do if you print the page or 2 as you're doing it and then just enter the data. And it's all about just practicing data entry.
So that's what section again?
That's in 6.
Section 6, okay.
Yeah, you can see where it says practice return 1, practice return 2. There's 7 of them.
All right.
Is that for the ones that we do out of this NTC lab book?
No, this has nothing to do with NTCC. These are just put up here by TaxSlayer.
Okay.
All right, so scroll back up to the top again, and now click on the small blue area where it says go to practice area. It's toward the left. Click on it, and it says it's initializing the practice lab, and now I'm into my practice lab, and I'm in 2021 tax year. If I wanted to go to a previous tax year, I would go over to the right and change the tax year there in the upper right-hand corner to 2020. And when we
So
do
did you ever-
taxes live, like in the production lab, you should be able to also see 2019 and even 2018 there.
So in real life, do people actually come in with 2 years and we need to do them?
All the time.
Last year, we had an exceptionally large number of 2019 taxes because people were shut out the year before because we shut our services down. And we're expecting a high number of 2020 returns even this year. But for like 2000, I won't see too many 2019s or 18s this year, but we might have an amended return or 2 to have to do in those years.
Well, my drop down only goes back to 20, doesn't go back earlier.
Right, because this is a practice lab.
Oh, okay.
But in production lab, we should see 2019 and I believe 2018 up there as well.
There's also a certification reason. You need to be certified in the year for which you do a return. So we don't ask for you guys, the candidates, to certify in 20 and 19 and stuff like that. Certifying in 21 is more than sufficient. But for the experienced taxpayers who, because of COVID, skipped a year, we are asking them, it's not a requirement, but we're asking them to go back and take the test for 2020. And that's why you see that 2020 option in the program.
So I guess it would make, in that vein, it would make sense to, if we had to do 2, to do the older one first, because the stuff comes out.
No, just for your purposes, ignore 2020.
Right.
No, in real life, in a real situation.
In a real situation, yes. Because of carryover, you always do the oldest return first.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we had some returns here, we might just do a client search and go look for them. But we just want to start a new one for Tom Andrews. So we're going to click Start New 2021 Tax Return. Over at the right, it says Select. And the first thing they want is his Social Security number. Did he have one? If you're in your workbook, you should be able to see it. It's on page 7 in the workbook. And so we can just begin typing it in. And after we type in the first 3 digits, we can press the Tab button. And it'll take us to the middle 2 digits, which are defaulted as zeros. The reason being is because this could, there are no social security numbers have 00 in the middle. So we use 00 so that anybody that would ever get a hold of these would know that this is a fake return. So we'll put in the 011 and then tab, and it's going to actually tab over the 00s right today, but the last 4 digits are XXXX. So you can put whatever numbers you want here. Keep in mind that, you know, if maybe you're using zeros, maybe you're using ones, maybe you're using 1, 2, 3, 4. I tend to use whatever the first 3 digits are, and then an extra whatever it was. So it was 011s for the first 3, so I'll use 0111 for the last 4. But you can do it however you like.
Pat, please
Okay.
correct me if I'm wrong,
Uh-huh.
but every return in Practice Lab is unique. So if you put in the last 4 digits and somebody else has already used those 4 digits, you will get a message that says those 4 digits, that return exists. So you just have to pick a different 4 numbers.
I've never had that experience in Practice Lab. Is that true?
Again, I'm going back a few years ago.
Okay.
It was true. I don't know if it's true anymore.
I'll be surprised if that's true because there's not that many combinations.
Well, 1,000
I don't,
or
yeah.
10,000.
Anyways, as soon as you typed in the social security number a second time and confirmed it, then you can click on Start the Return. There are some other profile things to choose from there, but I'm not even going to go over those with you today. So just click on Start the Return. And now you're just going to see an idiot message saying that the lab isn't perfect yet. Please bear with us, because they're still working on it and getting it up to speed for 2021. And as we're working through here, you may even figure out some places where they're doing that. So just click Continue. Continue is essentially a save button in here. So what do you guess his filing status is? He and his brother share this house. He's never been married. What's his filing status?
Single.
Single.
He's single. So click on Single. If you're not sure, you can use the filing status wizard, or you can use our quarter folder that we were getting new this year. Everybody will be getting one. And when you're ready, then you can click on Continue again. Remember, that's a save button. And now we're ready to put in the taxpayer's name, and whatever's on your Social Security card is what should be in these boxes. And remember to use your caps lock button. We always write everything in caps lock.
And how do you do that on the Chromebook?
Oh, I forget. You'll figure it out, or I'll figure it. How about
I will look it up.
Control caps lock or Shift caps lock?
I think it's one of those. I'm going to try alternate with the magnifying glass.
Okay.
I don't know if you know what? I have this annoying thing that pops up when I get a new page. It says Practice Lab in dark blue and it has Form Finder, and it's popping up in front of where I want to enter the information, and now I can't function.
Okay, so what are you using, a Chromebook?
Yeah.
Okay, do you know anything about resolution on a computer?
Yeah. Oh, maybe I'll.
You have to, like, your stuff is too big. You need to make it smaller so that that blue bar that you say Practice Lab Form Finder, that should be at the left. And you should be able to see everything else on your screen.
I went to full screen and that seems to have fixed it.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. Did everybody figure out caps lock?
I think it might be alternate and magnifying glass.
I think you might be right.
Yeah, because all caps are coming out now.
Okay, and remember, tab is your friend. Just tab and you'll go to the next field. Just tab and you'll go to the next field. When you get to the birth date, don't be dismayed. I know it says double M, double D, and then quadruple Ys. It's not what it is. For the birth date, you just put in the number. For the day, you just put in the number, even a single digit. It'll be fine. It's really strange.
What is it?
What is what?
the birth date.
Look
You
in the
can
interview
find it,
sheet.
yeah, this is where we have to go skipping around on pages. You can find his birth date on page 1 of the intake form, which is page
don't have a
4 in your
book.
workbook.
I don't have.
It's
the book.
item number 4.
No, they don't have, August 16th, 1992.
Thank you.
It's
Thank-
also, when you get your book, they also show the person's driver's license in the same page where they show the social security number. So you can find the birth date there.
Right.
So what's the occupation?
The occupation is computer. There again, if you have your workbook, it's on page 4. And you take a few minutes to read down through these little check boxes here. We very rarely have to use them, but it's still just nice to know where they are. And if you can't remember where some of these types of items are, just ask somebody and they'll help you. I mean, we do get taxpayer deceased at times.
This first box that says taxpayer can be claimed as a dependent on someone else's return, I kind of remember them pounding that into us. That's a very important question to
Right, you're right, it is.
ask.
We get a lot of kids who come in and they all think that they're very smart, and they are, but they forget that their parents are claiming them on the parents' return, and they want to get all the refund they can, and so they file a return themselves. It's super important to ask a young person whether they can be claimed on their parents' return.
I did one of those last year. The family came in and the girl wanted to be her own person. She didn't want to be a dependent anymore, whatever, I don't know. As I was working with the return, I was the reviewer, and I said, hey, this situation can get more money back if we let this girl be a dependent because of the educational expenses. The parent could get back more money than the girl could. And the girl wasn't happy about that, but the mom knew what I was talking about, and so she allowed it to go through that way.
Then the next few boxes in these questions are all on the front page of the interview sheet. Taxpayer was over 18 and a full-time student, or taxpayer is blind or deceased.
Right.
Or blind anyway, I don't know about deceased.
And
Yeah, deceased is there too.
right, and there's that presidential election campaign fund piece for the $3, which is really on page 3 of the intake form.
What is the address, Pat?
What is the address?
Anything you want.
Yeah, it really is. Just use your own personal zip code.
Okay.
On the intake sheet, it is 134 Marshview Place.
123 Main works. Zip code doesn't matter either.
Telephone doesn't matter either. I tend to use something that, I know can't possibly be traced.
You do have to put in a phone number.
Yeah, it's required.
Make one up.
Use the same phone number for all your returns, makes life easier.
Right.
And the same address.
I'm sure it's on here somewhere, but how do we go back after we continue? How do we go back one page?
It depends on where you are. If you want to go back, sometimes you can go over to the left and you can see how, if you go over to the left right now, you can see where basic information is there, filing status, personal information. So maybe one of those will take you back a page. Sometimes when you try to go, don't use the back arrow up at the top. That probably will take you out of the lab completely.
It's very important to hit the continue button when you finish a page. TaxSlayer does not save information as you enter into a field. So there are some pages that are quite complex. And when you're done entering all this information, You say, oh, I'm done with this form. I'm going to go to another form now. And you click and go to another form without hitting continue. You have just lost everything you have put in.
Or sometimes it'll give you an idiot message saying you can't do that, you have to click on continue.
But not always.
Right, not always, you're right. You're right, I've lost information already.
Yeah. Now, Steve, your question was, how do you go back? Well, if you hit the continue button, what it does is it takes you to another screen which shows you basic information, filing status, personal information, yada, yada. We were just on the personal information screen. So you go back by clicking on, and you'll see it says edit, meaning that you've already been there. So you click on the personal information page, it will send you back to where you
Well,
were.
I literally did that. I'm sitting on the recovery rebate page. And I just wanted to go back and check something. And when I click on personal information, when I open it up on the left-hand side, it says, warning, to ensure your data is being saved properly, please use the buttons located on the page. Close.
Right, it wants you to hit continue.
It wants you to hit continue and then you can do what you need to do.
It's a very stupid program in this regard.
Because I don't really want to answer the recovery rebate credit questions yet.
You don't have to. The point is, whenever you see that error message, you hit continue.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else has to be. You want to get. It's a question of habits.
Okay.
And you want to get into the habit of always hitting the continue bar, even when you know that you don't need to.
Okay. Okay. It'll take some getting used to.
It does.
Yeah. It's not
like
a
all
real
software.
smart program, and you'll also find that it's not consistent in some places, and that's been really difficult for a lot of people.
So Pat, he
Hey.
didn't claim any stimulus payments, right?
Well,
No, remember the conversation.
Yeah,
After being
okay.
pushed, they said, "Oh yeah, I probably did."
Oh,
but we
he
don't
did.
know, so we could try to look it up on the lookup tool if the lookup tool is available. Last year, the lookup tool just said that the money was sent. It didn't say how much. It just said it was sent. So that was very frustrating. And then they took the lookup tool down just about before tax season was even over. So I don't even know if there's going to be a lookup tool available this year.
And so I went to back so that I could enter that, and it took me out.
Exactly. You never, ever, ever, ever use the back button on the browser.
Yeah.
Now there's a
Okay.
there's a statement on the form that says back.
Yeah,
And
that's the one I used.
and it took me out also. So rather than guiding me through each step, it's making me select each step.
Which is the nature of the program.
Okay, all right. Never having seen it before. I don't know how this thing works. So.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
not sure what you're reporting. I can't picture what you're saying.
Well, I hit continue when I opened up the practice lab drop down on the left hand side. It gave me this warning and said hit continue. So I hit continue, and then it allowed me to select, say, filing status or personal information. I
Okay.
hit I'll do it again. I hit personal information, and it gives me the personal information stuff again, and then I can hit continue. Oh, now I'm back in a regular dialogue.
Okay.
No, now then it goes back to basic information.
Right. It will always go back. Again, the nature of TaxSlayer, it's an interview-based software.
Mm-hmm.
It is not a form-based software. Everything is a menu with choices and then with forms where you fill in data.
Okay, so so if I don't have any dependents, because I'm on a screen that says basic information, and it drops down and says, oh, I'm on that screen that you're on, yes.
That's
and,
right.
And then if I hit, I know he doesn't have dependents, so do I have to go in there?
No,
No.
just click continue,
Okay.
and it'll
Or
just
the
bypass
IRS
it.
or the IRS identity protection pin, I would typically just ask them, do you have one? And they'll say, what's that? And I'll say, somebody tried to steal your identity and file a false tax return. And they'll say, no, that never happened. So I'll just ignore that one. And then the recovery rebate, I'm assuming they got it. So I do that one, I hit begin or not?
You hit the enter and then you put in the amount.
Okay,
If you click on the screen, you get a recovery rebate credit screen. And the only thing it asks you to do is I received a stimulus, the amount, or I have not received a stimulus.
okay, just,
And we always believe the taxpayer, even when we know they're lying.
okay.
Because it's their return.
Okay, but I can see them, and we discussed already, them saying, yeah, I think I got one, or I don't remember, and then I'll say, well, you probably did, you know how much? And I don't happen to remember how much it was. It wasn't, you said it was.
No, you don't assume, you said the word assume. Never assume. If we have to take the taxpayer at their word. If they say they don't remember, then we put nothing in.
Okay, all right.
Okay? And we tell them this return, when you get to the very end, and let's say their refund is $14,000, and of that $1,400 is this rebate. At the very end, we're going to tell them the IRS is going to check your return. If it turns out you got the rebate, your refund is going to be reduced by $1,400. Are you really sure you didn't get it?
Okay.
The IRS.gov website, you can check to see if they got it. It does not give you the amount. They have to have an IRS account to see the amount.
That's what I was talking about earlier, about getting
Yeah.
an account. So you can see it from your account, but it takes time to get the account, so.
Regarding the rebate, I thought that the third round of payments came in January. I kind of don't remember
No.
the one that came in May.
I got mine in March. Some people got it in April. Some people got it in May. If people can't remember the amount, it is generally because they got the full 1,400. But you got to ask the client. I mean, it's their tax return. They're responsible for the accuracy of the tax return, not us.
So
Okay,
are we giving this guy the benefit of the doubt? Did he get his money, his 1,400 or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Give him yeah. I probably got the full amount.
Okay. Thank you.
So and so I did check that, so that's all, so I checked for Tom, that he received the stimulus payment, but, on this date today, 12/13/2021, I don't happen to remember what that number was, and he might not, in real life, he might not remember what it was either.
Well, that's where you go to the 4012. If you don't remember, the 4012 will have it somewhere. By the time you do your fifth return, you will remember that it's $1,400.
Yep.
So for these purposes, what is that? Is it 1,400? Is that the number?
Yep. Yes.
It's 1,400 per person in the household.
Okay.
See, the limitation, again, you'll get into this when you start looking into 4012 in detail. There are limitations on how much, on what can reduce that 1,400. For 99.9% of our clients, they got the full 1,400.
Yeah.
We don't deal in people who have limitations.
So I told you that when I hit the back button on the form, it took me out. I was able to recall it again, but, and the information is on the first page, but I can't go anywhere else.
Mean like you're
When I
frozen.
hit next,
No, I understand what she's saying.
Okay.
Okay, what you're looking at, when you go, okay, this is a good point. When you go back into a return, you've closed it, you've been kicked out, whatever, regardless. Tomorrow, you go back and you want to look at Andrews. Where you will go is to a summary page. That will show you the tax return form, the 1040 form itself. On the left side of the screen, there are little icons. If you run your mouse over those icons, it will expand and show you what it actually is. So the very first one is an I, and it will, and that's the basic information. And
okay,
that's how you recover where you were.
see that. I don't see that. The heading that I'm in is 2021 tax program.
You, did you get bumped out of the program completely?
Yes.
Okay, so you know where you are now? You are on the production lab page. It's through no fault of your own. You didn't do it, but that's just all. Whatever happens, if we get bumped out of the program, the practice lab, it defaults to the production lab page.
Okay.
So can you come back into the room and click on the link in the lower right-hand corner again? Because that's the only way you're going to be able to get back to the practice lab.
Okay, so start all over again.
Well, not all over. You already have an account created, but you need to log in again.
Right.
So if you click on the link in the lower right-hand corner, it'll open up a tab that has the choices on it. The practice lab is on the left. Click on that.
I did.
And on the next page, type in all capital letters, Train Pro Web.
Oh, I didn't have to do that. It brought me back to the practice lab and it says start a new one.
All right. Okay, but you don't want to start a new one. Now you
right.
want to click at the other group where you're looking for one.
Right.
Okay.
That's what I did. And it popped up.
Tom Andrews.
Oh, no. Well, I named mine Tim.
Oh, don't put in different names than what's in the workbook.
Okay, that was not intentional.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, that's, without a workbook.
Yeah.
If you forget,
I understand. Sorry.
You forget.
Okay.
So can I correct it?
Yes.
Yeah, you can. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because your quality reviewer will have to, whenever we're in production lab, your quality reviewer will need to make those corrections. So yeah, go ahead and correct it now if you can.
Okay.
So we're done with basic information now. We chose the filing status, we put in the names and address, we passed right through the dependents, we passed right through the identity protection PIN number because he didn't have one. And if you're questioning, are you sure he didn't have one? If you go to workbook page 4 again, you can see that was question number 11 on page 1 of the intake form. And we already discussed about the recovery rebate credit. So now we're done with basic information, and if we click continue, it should bring us right to the income page. Look down across these to see what the incomes, different types of income are, how they're categorized. They're sort of in the same order as on the 1040, but not totally. Is everybody with me? Does anybody need more time?
I do. I need a whole lot of time. I was able to change the name, but now it says there's no matching records.
No. Where did you change the name?
In the search client list.
No, you have to go in, open the return that you have named Tim.
And that's what I did. And when it came up Tim, I just put in Tom.
No, go to the personal information page, the basic information page, and change it on that page.
It won't take me to that page.
I'm not really sure
When I go to practice area, it comes right up to the practice lab. So I chose client search.
And does it say Tim Andrews there?
No, it says Tom now because I changed it.
Okay, so what happens when you click on select?
Where am I doing that at?
It should say select at the right.
All the way on the right.
On the right. No, I don't show select. I show a next or a previous.
Is it possible that it's off the edge of your screen?
I'm not sure. I just see create 2021 return.
Is it because she changed the name?
I'm not
Yeah, but we don't
sure.
know where she changed the name is a problem.
Oh,
That's what I'm thinking. Well, I changed it on the, when I hit it, it came up Tim. So I just backed out the I and put a O.
No, you have to search for Tim.
Tim came up automatically.
Because it's the only one there.
Steve Cohen.
I'm just on a regular laptop, so I don't know if that makes a difference.
No, it shouldn't. Because that's what I'm on.
Oh, okay. And so it's saying no matching records found. So I hit the social security number. I was going to put that in, but it's not allowing me to do that.
Okay, you can't put a social security number in on that screen. You have to be inside the where you're allowed to make changes. That's a search area only. You can't really make changes there, I don't think.
Okay.
No, you can't.
So you know what? I'm afraid you're gonna have to start new because I can't figure out across the wires what's going on with you.
Okay, so I went to the left side and I took client status and it came back up Tim.
Okay.
So is this where I should change the name?
Click on Tim.
Nope.
Margaret,
I-
do you know how to share in a Google Meet room?
No.
Okay.
I don't think you're supposed to change the name. If you get kicked out of the program and you want to come back to a return that you already started, when you get to the sort of the like the start a new return is one line, and then the next line is go to an existing return. Am I making sense? Did that help?
No, because the existing return now comes up Tom. But when I went to client status, it was still in Tim.
Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I don't think you're gonna have a choice but to start a new return. And you,
Okay, so I have to change all the information?
I don't, unless I can talk you through sharing, and then you can share and I'll look at what's on your screen, and everybody else will be able to see what's on your screen too, and that's okay, because it's a learning experience for all of us.
Okay.
Would you be comfortable with that?
Sure.
Okay, let me stop sharing.
Let me get back to the meet.
You come back into the meet room, and down at the bottom, there's a half a dozen little icons, and one of them is a rectangle with an up arrow in it. When you hover there,
Right.
it says present now.
Right.
So click on that, and then click on your entire screen,
Okay.
and now there's a little tiny picture of your entire screen, right kind of in the middle. Just click on that. And if there's another place there to click, you know, click again.
It's not doing anything on the inside. Should I hit the share button?
Yes, share, that's the one, thank you.
Okay.
Here you come. Good job.
Oh, yeah. That was a good job.
It says it's coming, but I don't
will
see it.
only come up.
I don't see it.
It says Google wants to show notifications, allow or block.
Hey, allow.
Yeah, hit allow.
To avoid an infinity mirror, don't share your entire screen or browser
just-
window.
Say ignore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or there's
Over on the right.
To the
See where,
right.
over on the right, see where it says the word ignore?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a lot
There
of
you go.
screens here.
Whoa.
Pat, this isn't working.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
No, she needed to not hit ignore. She needed to hit stop.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm
Oh.
sorry. Thank you, Kim.
So now what do I do?
I think
I'll
Stop
share-
you
sharing?
need to stop
Yeah.
sharing.
Okay.
Try it again.
Okay, so we're going to try it again. Go back down the bottom where the rectangle is. Hover where it says present now. Click. And then click your entire screen. Here you go. Still not coming though. Why is it doing
No.
that?
It's coming up with a whole lot of them.
Right. It looks like you shared about 10 times.
To
Uh-huh.
infinity.
Yeah.
It's an infinity.
Yeah, so that's not going to work. So go ahead back out again.
We'll have to do this separately.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so if anybody wants to see, I actually booted myself out of the lab and checked back in again. So if you want to come back to the home page, I'll get into sharing here and
Are you talking about your presentation page?
yeah, I'm sharing now what it looks like
Okay.
when you come back in. Can you see my page?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So this is the welcome page, but now I have a client down here, and if I click on client search and scroll down, there's Tom Andrews. And so I can't change anything here, or even if I could, I shouldn't. But I would go way over at the right and click on select. And when I click on select, then I go back into his scenario that we've been working on right now. These other people that I already have here, those are from the test that I took, and I came in here and created those scenarios. I'm going to click on Tom Andrews, and every time I come in to work on Tom Andrews, it always brings me to this page, which Steve was trying to tell about a few minutes ago, the tax return summary. We don't really use this page for very much, except maybe to go in and view and print the return. But how can I get back to where I was? Well, I might be able to click here where it says last checkpoint. Let's see what happens when I do that. There's also a back button here. But I'm going to go last checkpoint, and there it was. This is the last page that I left before I left the return. So that's a fairly nice feature. But whenever you come into a return that you previously worked on, it's always going to take you to that summary page. And you'll be like, what's this? I didn't have this page before. Yeah, you did. You just didn't go to that point. If I wanted to go to the summary page right now, I would find it right here, summary print on the left-hand column.
Okay, I see it.
All right, so are we ready to enter the W-2 information? Most of us.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. If you're not and you're frustrated, I would suggest that you just stay in the room and watch while I'm doing it on mine, because you can learn even while you're watching. It's not as effective, but you are learning. Okay, so after basic information, I'm going to click on continue. It automatically brings me up to the income page, and we looked at these a few minutes ago, and we need to do a W-2. It's the first one. So I'm going to click on begin. And just, start to read what's there. This is a standard W-2. This is corrected. It's a substitute. It's a railroad W-2. This is just a standard W-2. Whose is it? It's the taxpayers. If there was a spouse, both of their first names would be listed here. Here's the address. Now, the first thing I want to do is check and make sure this address is the same as the address that's on his W-2. Because if it's not, I need to change it here right now and make it be the same that's on his W-2. But I'm going to put the EIN number from his W-2 right here. And it's 130, and I always just use whatever number was the last one. I just do it, and then if you tab, sometimes it'll bring up exactly what's on there. When you put in the EIN, just punch tab, and the address will come up. Check and make sure that it's what you want. It's box 717 in Charlotte, and that it's accurate. So now that helped me. I didn't have to type all that in by hand. Remember, after you put in the EIN number, just click on tab and the address often flows in. So
Where'd you get the EIN number from?
if you're looking in your workbook on page 7.
Oh, okay. I don't have a workbook.
That's okay. That's all right. Yeah, it's on the W-2. It says employer identification number.
Okay.
And they're required, the employers are required to put them on. So, and it's always a 12-digit number. It starts with 2 numbers with a dash and then 7 more numbers. In fact, I actually see Tom Andrews' address on this particular form is different. So I would need to finish it here, change it here. It's not Marshview. It actually says 12 Macon Way. So wages, if I scroll down further, I can put in the wages. You can do it on your own form now. We do everything in round numbers. We round up, 49 rounds down, 50 rounds up.
Okay. If just a short interruption on the address, when a W-2 has a different address on it, this is relevant. It is irrelevant for the feds. It is irrelevant for the state. It is very relevant for the local return. So what you have now learned is the person moved during the year. And you're going, when you do the local return, you'll come back and ask more questions about that.
Strange question. My screen just went gray and now I can't do anything on it for some reason. Does that happen to anyone? Do you have a tip for getting back to active page?
I'm thinking I don't think I've ever heard of that before.
Well, it just happened to me. If you scroll right up to the top, it's getting ready to time out. So tell it not to time out.
Oh,
okay. As long as you wiggle that cursor every few minutes or so, I think it has a 10-minute timeout period on it, and then it'll just log you out. And that's a safety in the production lab, or especially like if we walk away from our computers, that's just part of security, is to shut you out of the lab so that nobody else could come along to see what you're doing.
I gotcha. Thank you. That was a good tip.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. Whoever gave that tip, thank you. Right, so now I have all the values in already. I put in the wages, and after I put in the wages, I hit enter, and the box 3 and box 5 automatically filled in. Box 4 and box 6 automatically filled in, but I still need to check them and make sure they're correct. Because oftentimes box 3 and box 5 are different than box 1. Because of pre-tax dollars, all that other stuff, money that's given to retirement. So I'm just going to check and make sure that nothing is off by more than 50 cents, because that's going to change the values. And I know that they put in cents in box 4 and 6. We just leave it the way it is, but we still check and make sure it's the correct amounts that are from the W-2. We must fill in box 2 with the amount of withholding. Then I don't see anything else in 7, 8, 9, or 10, or 11. Box 12, scrolling down. Box 12, there's a drop down. Box 12 has a drop down, it's a double D, so I'm just going to scroll down and hit double D. And the amount is $4,300. If I need to add another row because maybe there's a D or in E, whatever else is there, then I can just add another row that way. I don't need to. I must mark something in box 13 if it's marked on the W-2. Essentially, what we're doing is copying every piece of information from the W-2 into the computer. And at the bottom, I need to select Pennsylvania for the state. It's really easy to select Pennsylvania if you just click on the down arrow and hit P twice. Pennsylvania will come up. Check the values that flow in, put in the state tax paid, or I should say withheld. This is one of those inconsistent places. Sometimes it's paid, sometimes it's withheld. And then there would be the local wages and local tax and local name also. If there is no local name written on your W-2, you better make up something, because if there's nothing in this box, you cannot create a local form inside of TaxSlayer. I've tried it, and that's the only thing I can figure out, is there's nothing in this box. And then when you're ready, you can either click continue, or you can click save and enter another if he had a second job, and you'll just automatically be back at a blank page like this again. Okay, how'd you do? How are you doing?
Good.
Okay.
Good.
And here's the summary view of the W-2 form. Just shows the income and it shows the tax withheld. Now, I don't know what you're going to do in your workbook, but I know after I've entered data for a particular form, I usually take my pencil or pen and I just check mark beside it on the page so that I know I've dealt with that form and I'm done with it. Your workbook is yours. Feel free to write in it as whatever you need to. So does he have other income? Well, if I remember, I think he had some interest, so we can go to interest now. So click on continue. And you can see in the left-hand column, federal section, where it has actually created the W-2 wage statement over there. If I needed to go back and visit the W-2 statement again, this would be a quick way to get there. But I have interest, so it's a 1099 INT. So I'm going to click begin there. This is the third item down on the income page. And now there's more choices. I think I said this was interest, so I'm going to click interest or dividend income, the first item. Another choice. This is interest from a Form 1099 INT, so I'm going to click that one. Interest income, we do need to have the payer's name. This one was Nations Bank. We do not need a payer TIN. We do not need an address. Now you're going to say, well, why are those there? Because some of the states require this information. This is not required in PA, just the payer name and the amounts for interest and dividends as well. So we do need to select what state this is. No, we don't, sorry. We just need to put the income in. So box 1 income was $550. And there was an early withdrawal penalty for box number 2. And it was $55. And I don't see any other information on this form that's needed. So now how are we doing?
All is good.
Now, if there was some other interest, like treasury bonds, things like that, muni bonds, then we would have to do some other pieces of information on this page where it's not going to be taxed on the Pennsylvania form. But I'll hit continue and that'll save it. If he had a second interest form, I would hit save and enter another. And now we can see the interest and dividends summary page. And I'm going to check off that page in my workbook because we entered it. The other thing I believe he had was some student loan interest. Just keep continuing until you're out of the interest and back on income. Well, student loan interest isn't income. That's more of an adjustment or a credit. So we need to go searching for this. We can either click continue at the bottom of the income page, or we can go looking for it as a deduction over on the left. So I'm just going to click continue. This is an adjustment. Educator expenses. There it is. Student loan interest. First item. It's an adjustment. So click begin. And just look down over this list until you find student loan interest. It's toward the bottom. When you're ready, click begin. And it said that he had 550. So I just put 550 there. And if you've been watching, there is a refund monitor over at the right-hand side where it says AGI is now $23,395 and the federal refund is $900. It doesn't show any state amount because the state labs aren't up yet. Right, that's all for this. Now I'm going to return back to the intake form to make sure that I didn't miss anything else. Because we've gone through all of the forms that he had, but I know there's still other things. Like the $1,000 that he had in charitable contributions, or like the $5,000 that he said he was going to put into his Roth IRA. So we need to deal with those. And I also said I needed to go to 4012 to figure out what the maximum amount was that he was allowed to do. So let's do the charitable contribution first. And that is a deduction, but it is not here. It's in the, I'm going to click on deductions on the left-hand side. It's in the itemized deduction area. I know that sounds like a weird place for it to be, but that's where TaxSlayer put it. And it is a gift to charity. About halfway down, if you click on begin, a cash gift to charity, first item, begin.
Notice how many times Pat has to click in order to get to the screen. This is why we hate the program.
Right. It's just way too much clicking for what we need. I don't remember what the name of the charity was, and for purposes of practice, it's not that important. Just put in a charity name, and I don't even think the description is required. There's no asterisk beside it. See, charity name is required, but the description isn't. It's cash. It's a donation.
Wasn't it Charity X?
Yeah, it could have been. Okay. And the amount was $1,000. And it does require a date also. If the taxpayer doesn't know, or maybe there was multiple donations to the same charity, then I personally usually just choose December 1st of the previous year. You can choose whatever date you want.
Did you want to mention that override button in the charities?
Help me.
What override button?
You can group all of your cash contributions into one. And if you hit, that way you don't have to list all the charities.
Oh, you
Yeah,
say
wait
various.
Wait a minute. Where is that? Where is that?
Scroll up.
The charity cash contribution override.
Where is
Yeah,
it? though?
scroll up.
It's up above.
Did I miss
where
it?
you are. Yes, scroll up.
It's a blue box at the top of the page.
You're not scrolling up.
All right, let's start it again.
You're on the right page. You just have
Yeah,
to scroll up.
your mouse seems to be frozen on the page, Pat.
I don't think. Wait. deductions, itemized,
I don't
gifts
see it
to
on mine
charity.
either.
Yeah, you're frozen, Pat. We're still on looking at the charity X and the description and the date of donation page.
Oh, here, okay, I found the override place. It was not taking me there before. Okay, I may be frozen for you, but I did find the override place. Let me stop
There you
sharing.
go. There you go. Now you up. Okay.
I'm gonna stop sharing and come back in again.
In the meantime, why would you use override again?
Just to group charity deductions together, so you put in one number.
And without doing like, since we're not doing itemized deductions, most people that come in and say, I have deductions, they send it all to the same place. All right, can you see it again now?
Yeah, now we can.
Okay.
There's the blue box, override.
And I'm on the R. To group all of them into a single entry, just click override. Thanks, Alan. And then I can just put the amount right here. And click continue. And it went. And I didn't have to put in anything but the amount. So thank you, Alan, for reminding me that that override was there. I forgot about that.
You're welcome.
Okay, so charity's done now. And I'm going to fail at the other one because I can never remember. Is this where I need, Steve, to put in 8880?
No, not the 8880. What you do is you go to the search bar and you put in Roth. Go on the left side, go to the top. No, top. There you go.
Here, in Forms Finder.
Yes, Forms Finder. Put
Roth?
in Roth. Yeah, see what happens.
8606.
That sounds better.
Non-deductible contributions to traditional IRAs.
Yep.
Okay, this was traditional, outstanding rollovers, Roths. Total non-qualified distributions, basis, qualified first-time owners. This isn't what I wanted. This form is for people that are going to be taxed because they took a contribution at the wrong time, I think. Is this what I needed?
Let me look.
See, this isn't an area that I know very well. Here it is, 8880. That's the one I said, credit for qualified retirement savings.
Oh, okay. I'll think I was wrong.
That's okay. That's okay.
Happens all the time.
Enter any qualifying retirement distributions? No. Enter as a negative number distributions? No. Any current year traditional or Roth IRA contributions? Okay, so I need to go to 4012 and figure out how much he's really allowed to put in.
I got a little bit lost about where you got to this page or how you got to this
Okay,
page.
I'll do it again. I can do that
sorry.
again. Sometimes not all the forms just automatically pop up. In this situation, for sure, because this is a contribution that this fellow is making to his Roth IRA outside of any form that he was given, like by his employer, by anybody else. So he's just coming in and saying, I want to do this. So now we have to know some information. So I'm going to go over here to the left, right below the big blue tab where it says Practice Lab. And I'm going to do Form Finder, click on Enter, and then I'm going to put in here 8880, which is what I thought it was, and now it says go to Form 8880, credit for qualified retirement savings contributions.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Of course, you would have to know that it's an 8880 form. It would have been easier had we typed in Roth. We know what,
Yeah, because Roth didn't take us to the correct one, so I might have been able to do it by going retirement savings or something like that. I do not use Form Finder a lot, so that's always something I need to practice at.
It is the only thing I use, is Form Finder.
Good for you, and I wish I had that much practice. Right, so is this an adjustment?
Shouldn't be.
IRA deduction.
It's not. It's a Roth. They're not. Contributions to a Roth are not deductible.
So, but,
Ah, okay. Yeah, I'm doing a Google search. Roth IRAs. A Roth IRA differs from a traditional IRA in several ways. Contributions to a Roth IRA aren't deductible, and you don't report the contribution on your tax return.
then why is the line on here?
I'm only reading what Google says.
All right.
That might be new because I have a Roth IRA and I put it on my tax return last year
I agree with you.
somewhere.
I just typed into that search form finder, I just typed in IRA, and then in the drop down, it kind of descriptively got me to the form that I wanted, I think, form 8606, sorry, I think.
It gave him some refund. It gave him like $3,400, or excuse me, it gave him about $400 refund, I think. Anyways, I looked in 4012 while we were all having this discussion, and on E10 it says that he's allowed to put in $6,000. So that's what I put in. I'm gonna go, okay, so I think I'm pretty well done now. I'm gonna click continue to make sure it's saved. And I'm gonna take you back to I'm gonna go down the left-hand column to summary print. And we can see that page. That isn't what I want to see. I'll bet you won't be able to see this. Can you still see that Adobe Acrobat is opening?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good. Just want to see what it did with that Roth IRA stuff. Here's
Well, on
Tom.
my page, it gave me a tax credit for it.
It gave this one a tax credit also, I think around
No,
400.
I wonder if that's something new with one of these programs
It may
passed.
be.
I don't
It
think
never before was a Roth contribution affected your tax return.
Right,
That's
I
right.
understand that.
it still doesn't. So it should not have been entered onto the return.
So why
So
is
then
that
you
line
should-
there then? Never
That
mind.
I can't answer.
Okay, so I'll take it back out again. But anyways, I just want to show you what it looks like when we open up a print result. Here's looks like the exact W-2 that we entered. So it's real easy to check to make sure that we entered the information correctly.
What?
And here's an 8879, which is the signature page giving us authorization to do an electronic filing. And here's the 1040. And it shows the income, shows the interest, shows adjustments to income as 605, which I'm not sure that's correct either. Kind of think of it. There's the $300. If you probably can't see it, it's way too small. There is the $300 there that he had for the donations that he had. I'm going to get the rest off the schedules. Schedule 3 gave him $200 savings for the retirement contribution, which everybody is saying no, he wasn't allowed to have that. And the interest page, all standard pages that you've seen before.
Go back up to the 8879, if you would.
Uh-huh. Here it is.
Okay. We as preparers do not sign the tax return. The only thing the client signs is the 8879. The 8879 in this big detailed paragraph there in part 2, which you don't need to read, but it basically says that by signing this, the client is giving us permission to e-file their return, and they are responsible for whatever's on this return.
And then they do their signature here, and
Yep.
the spouse just below.
And there's also a similar form for the state.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, any questions?
Yes, Pat. In regards to that Roth contribution.
Yeah.
The gentleman, the taxpayer did not make the contribution yet. Why do we proceed as if he did?
Because he's allowed to make it up until the tax deadline date. That's been law for
What
many
happens if he
years.
doesn't do it?
Excuse me?
What happens if he doesn't do it? And we said he
The onus
did.
is on him. We just remind him that he needs to take care of it. It's his return. If he says
Okay.
he's
Even
going
if
to
he
do
did
it,
it, even if he did a traditional IRA, which he would have definitely got some type of credit for, that's his baby. We're
Correct.
just going on his word.
That's
Correct.
right. That's right.
Okay, I never had that happen last year, but I just wanted to know how to proceed.
I think in years past I've actually done that myself, like filed my return and then gone in and done a contribution before April 15th.
Well, I would trust you to do it, that's for sure.
One of the things that the IRS now does on every single return is they match the records with the return. So they're getting a record from the financial company telling them that you did or did not that you made a contribution on April 14th. And they will do a check over the summer and to see that you bought an IRA. Or the example here was an IRA. And therefore you are eligible for that tax deduction. It's a purely computer check. And if you don't do it, you will get a letter from the IRS saying, you owe us money.
Right. Wow.
Humans aren't involved.
Very
Pat,
good.
can you go through how to remove that since you put it in an error?
Removing amounts that aren't supposed to be put in? Sure.
Yes, please.
Okay, let me go back into presentation mode again. So first I have to remember where it is, and it's on a form 8880 somewhere. So it's probably in the federal section somewhere. Interest, dividends. I'm in the left-hand column now, and I know where it is because this is a very nice feature that TaxSlayer has just added within the last couple of years, and it keeps getting better every year. But there it is, form 8880. So I'll just click on it, and I can just get rid of it right here. Trash can. Just click. Do I really want to do this? Delete. Gone. It's gone. And you can see now that the refund monitor has gone back to 936, whereas it was like 1100 something before.
Thanks.
And you can do the same thing with any. Let's say I want to get rid of interest and dividends. Same thing. If I just click on it in the left-hand column, the summary view comes up, and I can just trash can it here too. Whatever I want to do, or just trash can it, and it's gone. You can't recover it. It's gone. If you want to recover it, you have to redo it. Any other questions today?
On the issue, if somebody ends up not making the contribution, do they ever come back and say, hey, I didn't make it, I want to?
Do they ever come back to us?
To us, yes.
They might, and then they would say, I need to do an amended form, yeah?
Okay, so we do amended forms also.
We do amended forms up until April in this year, 18th.
And we only do them for clients who did their standard form with us.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I think we're done for the day then.
Sounds good. Right on time. If you didn't get a chance to finish what we did in the practice lab today, I would charge you with maybe doing that before tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to spend almost all day just in the practice lab. So I'm hoping that you have a workbook in hand by tomorrow. If not, I'm not sure what to tell you to do because that's like a really important piece.
Well,
you have them at your place, right, Steve?
Yeah, the NTCC booklets I received this morning, they're sitting on my porch. The other alternative is if you send me an email, I will take the booklet and just excise out the pages that we need and email those pages back to you for you to print out.
Oh, well, everybody could print, anybody that's, like, I sent 2 workbooks out, so everybody in this room right now should have a workbook.
Well, they don't.
You sent them out electronically or you sent them out by paper?
You're saying electronically. I sent 2 workbooks electronically over lunch hour today.
Oh,
okay, I haven't checked.
Oh, I said I was going to send them over lunch hour. Hey, I do what I say. So anyways.
I have it electronically.
Okay, so that means you could print whatever pages are for tomorrow then. So in the morning tomorrow, we will be taking a look at, wait. And if you want, you can print any pages that you think you might need. We will be doing We're going to be doing an exercise on filing status tomorrow. I will be putting all the data needed up on my screen. That's for in the morning. So we really will not need a workbook in the morning. But in the afternoon, we are going to be doing work from Ray Caldwell, which starts on workbook page 15.
And going to what page?
15,
to what?
16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21.
I got the wrong person here.
Ray Caldwell, Caldwell.
I had Tiana Baker on page
Yeah,
15.
we're not going to do Tiana Baker.
Okay, I got Ray Caldwell.
Ray Caldwell, starting on page 15, right.
Yeah, it's 20 in the slide.
Yeah, it might be. It might be a different number electronically.
Yeah, and
Okay.
so we're going from 15 to what page?
I think I said 21.
21, you
15
said.
to
Pat.
21.
yeah.
Okay.
On the printed version, it ends at 21. On the PDF file, it may be because it counts pages from the very
It
beginning.
counts
for
pages
microphone.
differently on the electronic version.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right. Yeah. So,
Okay, any other questions for today?
Should we be taking the other test?
Excuse me?
Should we be taking the other test?
No.
Intake, interview, and quality review?
No, not until you get more information on that. I know you're pretty well versed on intake and interview, but I want you to have some practice at that too. And then you need more information, I think, still on quality review before I release you to take the test on that. You can go look at the test if you want. If you have 6744, feel free to read through the test even, or take a look at it online. But you can take the test. But I don't know that I'd submit it yet. It's up to you. It is an open book test.
So when we do take this test, you just to make sure I understand this, we should not actually submit it until we send it to somebody to review it. So
Yes.
make sure we pass.
Yeah,
Yes.
Steve and I think differently on that. I think it's okay for you to submit it the first time, but the second time not. And Steve says don't submit it the first time until it's reviewed. So we're differing on that.
So who are our reviewers? Who would I send it to?
I guess Pat and me.
Okay. Who's nicer?
Yeah. And ultimately, it will, Steve, for you, it will be Gloria and Roger, but I don't think they've taken their 21 test yet. So they can't review you yet.
I already sent mine to Roger and he reviewed it.
He did? Okay. Well, then, Steve, you can send it to Roger.
Okay. Who's Roger?
Roger Jackson. You met him.
Oh, he was up front in our class.
He was with Gloria. He was running the meeting.